Hi guys, my name is Ivo and I'm from mytestedasp.net. It's time for my last part of my current video series about clean and testable C# code. In this video we're going to cover web services, how to test them, and actually as a final task, this will be our most difficult test because we have quite a lot of fixed dependencies in a single method. So let's go and start testing it. Before I open Visual Studio, I would like to remind you that you should turn on the bell notifications because otherwise you will miss all my future lessons, and I try to provide great and advanced knowledge. So make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you. As you know, we had a poorly written web application which didn't follow best practices. We've kind of refactored quite a lot of stuff already and made the whole application cleaner, but still there are some places, some dark places, which still need to be updated. This will be our method under test. In the image service, update image. In this method, we use a web client to download the file, which comes from some image URL. We save that file to a destination. Then we load image processor, which is a third-party library. And then we calculate some optimal size. Then we resize by using the image processor, and then by using the file system we open and write the output to the file system. So apparently we have three problems here. We have three fixed dependencies. The first is the new keyword here, which creates a web client. Apparently we have a dependency to external server that makes our tests quite unpredictable and dependable on the internet and on the reliability of the external server. Then we use third-party API, which is image sharp for processing images, which is static. And as we know, statics are not easily uh, tested. And last but not least, we have the file system. So we need to refactor this code in order to make it testable. So let's first start with the web client. I'm going to create a new web client, iWeb client interface, because I would like to extract and make more abstract the web client usability in my application. Okay, the iWeb client interface will have download file method, which will return a task, and it will have address and file name. String address, string file name. Great. Then I will create a new web quant service. I will need to rename this interface to iWeb client service public web client service, and here I'm going to use the web client directly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say private web client. I'm going to make it read only. I'm going to instantiated here, and I'm going to implement the interface by just calling the web client from above. I'm going to say address and file name. That's pretty much it. This way, I made the previously untestable web client replaceable and actually allowing me to test my logic in the image service. Okay, but that's only part of the equation. We have a third-party library using a static class and the file system. We need to fix those too. Let's first register our iWeb client service to web client service. Then I would need it injected here like this. Let's make it read only. And what I need to do is I need to call await this web client service download file image URL and destination. So let's remove that and remove that. Apparently we abstracted the web client service. Then we need to abstract the image processing and the file system. So let's create an image processor service. Image processor, which will deal with the image processing. And since a lot of services started appearing here, we may start introducing folders. For example, images, for example, system, for example, and system will have the file system and the datetime. For example, database, which will be iArticle service and so on. So let's do that because we're talking about clean code, not only about testing. So I'm going to extract all of these into separate folders. I'm going to say images and I'm going to move images here. Then I'm going to say system and I'm going to move datetime, file system and random. That's okay. To system, of course, I would need to refactor the namespaces. Good. Apparently the system namespace is forcing me to use this ugly syntax, so I'm going to replace that with machine. Cool. Image processor, and I will need web, which contains the web client service. Let's refactor that too. Basically, the whole idea is if you have too many parameters, extract a class. If you have too many methods in a class, extract a separate class. If you have too many classes, introduce a folder. If you have too many folders, introduce a project, and so on. So the whole idea is if you have too much of something, then you need to extract them and make them easier to find, like I did here. This services project started getting overwhelmed of classes and services, so I decided to extract them into separate folders. And by doing that, the services project became by doing that, the services project became better and well organized. Currently, it's very well organized and each class is in its corresponding folder, which is always a better approach than just having 100 classes in a single project. Okay, so I'm going to close everything because I did a lot of cleaning and refactoring, and now I'm going to continue my work here. What I want to do is I want to have an image processor which is going to resize an image and then save it on the file system. Image processor. Let's make a resize function, void resize, which will resize and save at the same time. It will need a destination. So let me create the add new class image processor, which is image processor, which will have the following. Apparently, it needs to be a task. Let's fix that. And apparently it needs the calculate optimal size method to be here. So I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it here. Okay, width and height should come from the outside world. These need to be in the interface too. So we did that. Great. The image service will need an image processor, but let's make it image processor service and image processor service. Okay, the whole idea is that the image service will do everything, including downloading, resizing, and so on of our service, of our images, and the image service image service processor, this one, will only do image related stuff. It will open the file and save it. Something like that. Okay, so image processor service. I'm going to introduce it in the constructor, and I'm going to say await this image processor service resize, and I'm going to give destination, then I'm going to give width and height. Like this. Great. We're almost done. The last thing we want to do is well, we may do all of these methods in a single service, which is called image service. That should be up to you. I just wanted to split the web part to be on separate class and the image processor to be a separate entity which only deals with the images. And this image service will deal with how images are related to different entities, for example. So this can be update profile image, like this one, for example. It will download the file and then it will resize it. And the image processor will only work with the images directly. It's both are okay, I guess. You can decide what to use, whether to use a single service for images and downloading them and everything related to images, or to separate them. Personally, I prefer to have a great separation of concerns. As you can see, I'm extracting the controllers from my web project, so I prefer to have everything separated and be as single unit as possible, to be as atomic as possible, but it's up to you. So if you want, you may leave only a single image processing service. The good news is that we don't need to unit test this resize, but we can do it because this resize actually uses the I'm currently thinking of a better approach. Let's do it like that. Let's do it like this. Let's have the resize here. Let's move the internal. Let's remove that. The better approach is that I'm going to have the image processor service only abstracting this static class here. That will be the whole idea, so that I can replace it in the update image when I test it. So apparently what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did here, and the same thing I did with AutoMapper. So the image processor service will only contain the third-party library logic, the image sharp logic. Otherwise, it will be completely normal. Let's see it. Let's see what we will have: an image coming from image sharp. Let's see whether it will be easy. Okay, I'm going to make it like this. Mutate this image source. Fortunately, okay, got it. This will do only the image sharp logic. So the first thing I will need is void get sizes, which will return int width, int height tuple, and it will receive only a string destination, like this. Then we will do an resize method. I'm going to say resize, and it will have a destination and width e height. Like this. So I'm extracting the image sharp third-party library behind an interface which is only using primitive types or types I have created, so that I can easily replace them afterwards. That's the idea here. So I'm going to say, okay, give me var image width, image height. This should be this image processor service. This should be the interface. Get sizes from the destination. And then I'm going to remove that and use it in the image processor service implementation. So what I'm going to use here is I'm going to call that here. I told you that this is the most difficult part of this series, but it summarizes everything we learned so far. So it's a great example because we need to do quite a lot of refactoring to make this code testable. Okay, we have calculate optimal size, then we have resize, which needs to return good. And the last thing we would like to use is to use the OpenRight method. The OpenRight method directly from the machine file system. So I'm going to read stream open write string path like this. Did I register the image processor? I didn't. Let's do it like that. And in the image processor service, I'm going to use the FileSystemService. Say this FileSystemService OpenRight like this. This way, everything related to the image sharp third-party library is abstracted behind an interface. And we can now assert this logic here. All I need to do is ImageProcessor.resize. I need to provide the destination, but I'm going to get the destination outside of the image processing service. This is not part of the logic here, so I'm going to extract it here because I want to keep this image processor service as minimum as possible. The whole idea is just to load the image, resize it, and save it. That's it, using the third-party library. I don't want to have application specific logic like the logic here, where to save and how to save the should be awaited. And that's it. And and now I extracted and abstracted everything in the image processor. The web client is abstracted, the image processor is abstracted, and this method is now testable. So let's create a test for it. But before that, let me show you where you can find this source code. This source code is available in my GitHub profile. It's Ivailo Kenov. Hit repositories. You may follow me if you like. Hit repositories, then hit the write TV here and hit the TV repository. This repository contains every single source code I'm using in my YouTube channel. Here it is, and you can see all the videos here. I have links for the video and the source code itself. I will be extremely thankful if you give this project a star. It will mean a lot to me. And if you want, you can even watch this repository, because usually I upload a video and link it here and make it public later. So this way you will know before everyone else that the video is available and the source code is uploaded. I am going to take a moment to thank my sponsors. That's Bellatrix, ReSharper, Softuni, Smart IT, Nobuhar, and 1-Bit Software. Thank you guys. You're great and you truly rock. You motivate me to continue providing free education on YouTube. Now let's get back to our code and write the update image test. Going to test services, image service test. I'll need to provide another no here. I'm going to say fact public void update image should download file and resize it. Image and resize it to correct destination. Okay, let's make that a task. Let's make it async. And let's start our arrange, act, and assert. First, we need an instance of the image service. New image service. Okay, but the web client service needs a fake, just a normal fake download file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a fake web client which implements the iWeb client. But I need to add the service suffix. So let's do that. Then I'm going to say something like public bow file downloaded get private set. This file downloaded equals true. Return task from result Actually, task complete task. It's a void. The whole idea is that I want to be sure that the image service here calls the download file. That's more than enough to validate that the file is downloaded. From here after, I don't care how the file is downloaded. I just need to validate that this method updateImage downloads the file. Also, I can validate the destination. So let's validate that too. Public string download destination get private set like that. Okay, let's create a fake I don't write the fake, so web client service equals new fake web client service, and let's pass that. Okay, then I need to have a image processor service. Okay, let's create a fake one. It will be very easy if we had a mocking framework, but as I said numerous times during this series, I don't want to overcomplicate this tutorial. I will make another video about the mocking itself. Okay, fake image processor service. This video series is all about the refactoring and making the code cleaner. I don't want to overcomplicate it with mocking, even though it takes me more time to implement these fake objects. Okay, I will leave that for now. Service equal new fake image processor service, like that, and I'm going to pass it. Then what we need to do is we need to call await image service dot update image, and I need to provide an image URL. Const string image URL equals image URL, like that. Destination const string destination equals test destination, like that. The width and the height should be const size equals 200, for example. Let's see whether there's a minimum. It's to 100, so it's okay. Good. Image service test. Let's use that. And now we need to assert whether everything is correct. First, we need to assert whether the image service is calling the correct destination here. So I need to assert that the web client service.file downloaded is true, and I need to assert whether the web client service download destination is the destination like here. What's the destination? Test destination dot jpg. Good. Then I need to validate the new destination here. So I'm going to use the resize. Get sizes should return these will return just okay. I'm going to say public bow image resized. I'm going to say image resized equals true. Then I'm going to say public string image destination, similar to the fake web client service. The idea is the same. I'm going to put some values here which will validate that the image service method logic is correct. Like this. Okay, so I need to assert that the new destination is like this, but first I need to assert that the image processor service has image resized call, and I need to validate the destination. Like this. I don't need to validate the size here because I have a separate unit test for that, so I won't do it. I'm only validating whether the file is downloaded, whether the destination is correct, and whether the new destination is correct, and whether the file is resized. That's the whole purpose of this test. And let's run it and see how it goes. I have some missing method here. Let's run everything and see how it goes. Okay, we have a failing test. Test destination dot jpeg dot download underscore. So apparently it's that. That's a bug actually, so let's fix it. Let's rerun the tests. Everything is passing. Well, that was the most difficult test we had to do, but sometimes these tests do exist. We had to refactor quite a lot to make the code work and to make the code cleaner and replaceable and most importantly, testable. So that concludes the whole series. I hope you guys learned a lot on how to write code which follows the best practices and the solid principles, how to refactor code which is kind of ugly and with fixed dependencies, and how to make dependency injection your first friend. Thank you for being with me, and before I finish, I would like to show you my projects. They're in my GitHub profile, and these projects are for writing tests about the ASP.NET framework, and they essentially allow you to write strongly typed, very fluent, very readable tests which happen in a matter of seconds. You may assert every component from your web application, controllers, services, models, routes, pipelines, and more. And these projects are written during my free time, so I will be extremely thankful if you take a look at the sponsors and backers section, and if you decide to sponsor me or become a backer on Patreon, Open Collective, PayPal, or Buy Me a Coffee. This way you will motivate me to continue providing you free knowledge on this channel and to continue developing these great high quality tools. Thank you again, guys. If you like the series, hit the like button, share them with your friends. Just spread the word. I'm going to create new videos about mocking, about dependency injection, solid principles, and just stay tuned. Bye.